Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your valuable time to spend at Finovate with Signicat this morning. We're going to talk about driving value onboarding a digital customer. We're going to talk about specifically the role of digital identity and how by identifying your digital customer, you can actually provide them with the products and services they want very immediately. Let me propose to you the big challenge today is the digital world is broken. Huge numbers of identity records, theft, malware, cyber fraud. We don't know who we're dealing with. So my colleague Corey Indroy will take us through a number of points. Let's have a look at another. If you're in the UK, you'll know about the very substantial risks and issues, particularly Tesco Bank, one of the more high-profile institutions to have been hacked, and in this case, 20,000 accounts have had money taken from them. And we have a tremendous challenge because we're in the process of needing to meet regulation, and the changes of regulation, particularly PSD2, will require us to open our bank account information. And in the UK, we also have the Competition and Markets Authority. So why do we think this is important? At Signicat, our business is providing digital identity on demand in the cloud. The concept is that you can call a service, a web service, to validate the digital identity of an individual. We decided to commission a piece of work. We call it the Battle to Onboard. We asked 2,000 professionals in the financial services industry, what are the challenges for you onboarding a digital customer, particularly if they're new to your financial institution? You'll find this paper on our website. You can see some of the significant challenges. How can we use digital identity to address those challenges? Let's take a loan application scenario. In this particular case, we decided to create a fictitious bank. We're not a bank. We work with over 200 financial institutions. We provide identity services, actually calling into our cloud 100 million transactions every year for these major financial institutions, predominantly in the Nordics. So let's say we want to have a look at a loan. We've gone through the loan calculator. How can this individual identify themselves? Well, one option is to use live video. We do this for clients already in the German market, where it's actually growing in popularity. Secondly, we could scan a passport or other forms of government-issued ID, and we use a number of partners. Some of them you'll be seeing over the next couple of days, actually to provide that technology and to validate that that isn't a forgery. Or we could use a government-issued ID. One of the things we're doing is looking right now at the government's Verify scheme here in the UK, but rather uniquely, we already support significant numbers of bank, mobile IDs, and also government-issued IDs all across Europe, all through this cloud. What you're looking at is a cloud-based service that you can integrate into your processes. Let's follow one example of how an individual could get this loan online now, actually by looking at their specific bank account information. We'll ask for a little bit of information from them, not huge amounts of information. We certainly want to know their cell phone. Ooh, this is an interesting one. This is a foreign national who's come and relocated to the UK. Corey, in fact, has put in his details, and we have a foreign number. We can validate against KYC and against databases. We're also going to send him a little PIN code so we can have a look that the phone is in his possession. But we can also look at those particular records. Right now, we're running against the KYC databases in our cloud, looking at those records. We can validate his name and address. Let's go further. Let's say we want to actually find out something about him with his consent by looking at his existing current account. And that current account, let's make it difficult for ourselves. It's not a UK bank. In fact, it's a Norwegian bank. He can use his standard credentials using this partner app from DirectID, and we're actually now going with his consent into his bank and looking at his transactions. We can now do this across multiple accounts in multiple territories. What do we find out about him? Very quickly, we find out who he works for, we find out the range of transactions that he's had, and we can see that this loan is affordable. We'll be a good banking citizen if we provide him with this loan. He's credit worthy. Why don't we offer him the credit agreement now? This is tailored to him. You can see that we've actually pulled in all of his details. He can have an opportunity to look through the loan terms, standard terms that you would see. and we can invite him to sign the document. In this case, let's say he's using an iPad. He wants to actually put a physical signature in, but it could just be pushing a button. These are digital certificates, digital signatures to the EIDAS standards that we're actually pulling up. He's got his loan. We've qualified him. We know more about him than if he'd gone into our branch. He's a new customer to us. He's got his loan. Here's his agreement. Happy customer. And he can then service his account using a mobile ID, which uses biometric footprint. Let's leave that loan scenario and just summarize what we've seen. We've identified, using a number of means, those are configurable based upon the choices in your customer journey. He's signed digitally. It's a contractually valid signature. Frictionless process for onboarding new customers by using identity at the heart to know who your new customer is. Personalized, you could have offered advanced terms here, driving value for you and your digital customer. How are our customers using this technology? I mentioned we had over 200 institutions. It's cloud-based, so you can connect very rapidly into our cloud-based services, call that identity service, validate. Credit card companies getting credit cards out to people much more quickly and efficiently than they do. But most dramatically, we can drive costs down for the financial institution, meet the expectation of the millennials and other organizations. And in one particular case, we can help launch banks, which is actually what we've done with Norwegian. Norwegian's bank is now worth more in market capitalization using this technology than the airline, and the airline has 100 airlines. I hope that's given you a sense of how our customers are driving value. Please take some time to come and see Signicat. Our stand is the other side. It's been a great pleasure speaking to you this morning. Thank you.